Nike just put Eala's face on billboards across New York City. Take a second and actually picture that. This isn't a small poster stuffed into a corner of some outer borough. It isn't a quiet online ad that a handful of people scroll past. Her image is going up in one of the most competitive ad markets on the planet, timed exactly to the weeks before the US Open in the very city where the entire tennis world is about to turn its eyes. For millions of Filipinos watching this unfold, that single detail landed like a shockwave, and it has almost nothing to do with a scoreline. It's about what the moment represents. Because here's the thing. This has genuinely never happened before, not for a Filipino athlete, not at the scale, and definitely not in New York, where billboard space gets fought over by the biggest names in sports and entertainment. Have you ever watched your own culture show up somewhere you never expected to see it? That's the feeling rippling through Filipino community pages right now. People are saying flat out they never imagined witnessing something like this in their lifetime, especially not in a city this saturated with global advertising. So, why does one advertising campaign feel like such a massive deal? You have to look at what came before it. For decades, the only Filipino athlete who reached true worldwide commercial fame was Manny Pacquiao, and his fame came almost entirely through boxing. Outside the ring, Filipino athletes have rarely gotten this kind of spotlight from a major global brand, and tennis in particular has been one of the hardest sports for Filipino talent to break into. The funding wasn't there. The courts weren't there. The international pipeline wasn't there. That's exactly why this campaign isn't just marketing. It's a marker in the history books. Let's talk about who she actually is. Eala is 21, left-handed, trains out of the Rafael Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Spain, the very academy Nadal built himself. For years, only die-hard tennis fans knew her name, mostly as a junior prospect from the Philippines that scouts were quietly tracking. Everything shifted this year when she beat world number 3, Jessica Pegula, in a rain-delayed final to win a WTA title, becoming the first Filipino man or woman to ever do it. Since then, she's climbed into the top 20 in the world, taken down a former Grand Slam champion, and been profiled by ESPN and the WTA. Now, weeks out from the US Open, Nike is going all in, putting New York itself on the stage with her. Before this breakout season, most of her biggest wins happened where casual fans never look, junior Grand Slam titles and brutal qualifying rounds where she had to grind through multiple matches just to earn a spot in the main draw. That work almost never gets seen. But it's exactly why this moment doesn't feel sudden. It feels like years of unseen effort finally catching up to her. This isn't the first time Nike has built a culturally rooted campaign around her. At Wimbledon, she debuted wearing a custom hair tie designed around the sampaguita, the national flower of the Philippines, alongside a gift box that included a Filipino proverb about reaping what you sow. She's called that flower a reminder of where she comes from, and it's rare, genuinely rare, to see a Filipino athlete carry her culture this visibly on a stage as historically exclusive as center court, in a sport still shadowed by its country club image. For the US Open, Nike went further. The new kit is blue and white, a deliberate nod to the colors worn by the Philippine national basketball, football, and volleyball teams. Alongside it, Nike released a shirt built around the same floral design, plus a matching hair accessory and visor. None of it is random. Every piece was chosen on purpose, tied to a flower associated with purity, humility, and strength, the same words fans keep using to describe Eala herself. What makes this round of the campaign different from Wimbledon is scale. Insiders say her image is now appearing across outdoor ads throughout New York City, and that kind of placement is not cheap. Brands don't commit to it unless they expect sustained demand, not just a one-tournament spike. Analysts reading into it say Nike is betting on her staying relevant well beyond this US Open. New York also happens to be home to one of the largest Filipino communities outside the Philippines, and that community has not stayed quiet. People are describing a mix of disbelief and pride at seeing their culture represented at this size in a city that rarely acknowledges it. One sentiment keeps repeating everywhere. She is carrying all of us with her. second-generation Filipino-Americans are talking about finally feeling like the main character instead of a footnote in someone else's story, walking past a wall-sized image of someone who looks like them, speaks like them, and carries their flag in the middle of one of the most expensive ad markets on Earth. And the ripple effects go beyond emotion. Back home, tennis clubs in Manila and Cebu are reporting spikes in youth enrollment directly tied to her rise, with waiting lists forming at courts that could barely fill 2 years ago. In a country where basketball and boxing usually dominate the conversation, that shift is enormous, and it might end up being the most lasting part of this entire story. Government sports officials and private sponsors are reportedly reconsidering investment in tennis infrastructure, something that would have sounded unrealistic a year ago. Now, let's stay grounded here, because Filipino social media has overhyped stories about Eala before. Earlier this year, a viral post claimed she'd signed a $45 million endorsement deal with a major racket brand. Fact-checkers confirmed it never happened, yet it circulated for weeks before getting corrected. So, what's actually verified? According to reporting from major outlets, Nike has committed to a real, culturally grounded campaign tied to the US Open, complete with a dedicated kit and apparel line built around Filipino identity. Nike has a pattern of amplifying athletes right before Grand Slams, so given how fast her commercial profile is rising, this expanded New York presence fits that pattern rather than breaking it. So here's the question worth sitting with. Is this the start of Filipino athletes finally getting the global commercial spotlight they've been waiting decades for? Or is this one perfectly timed advertising moment that fades the second the tournament ends? Either way, for now, her face is on a wall in New York City, and an entire country is looking up at it together.